Stampin' friends, and welcome. This is Dee Osburn, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today we are going to be making this cute little barnyard card using the Christmas barn stamp set. The barn, we'll be using the barn and the fence and the tree. And we will be using the Stylish Sketches stamp set. This is a free set with Celebration, and we'll be using the ducks, which actually I think they're geese, but I'm using them as ducks because I made this card for my son-in-law who lives out of state with my daughter. Obviously they're married, and he loves his ducks. He has a couple of ducks, and so I thought I would make this card for him. I also put a cardinal on there because those are special to him as well. This cardinal is way too big for this barn, so we won't be doing it in the card that we did today, but I put that there for him. So let's get started. If you like this video as you go along, please like, share, and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and let me know what you liked about the video or what you'd like me to see differently on this card. So today we're going to be starting with a piece of Balmy Blue. Cut it 8.5 by 5.5, scored it 4 1/4. Push this just over here to the side. We are going to have two pieces of, wait, before we do that, let's get our bone folder and give this a nice crisp fold so it can lay nice and flat. There we go. So we're going to have two pieces of basic white cut at 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. 5 1/4 by 4, and one is going to be for the inside, so we're going to glue that down. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll glue that down. And then the other piece is going to be for our card front. And we're going to be using some blending brushes. We're going to be using the masking paper, using a technique where we're going to cover the barn. And that way we can do our sky and our grass, and we can get our tree to look like it's going behind the barn and also the fence. So let me show you how I did that. We're going to put our base off to the side and work with our second piece of basic white. Again, cut it 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to get some of this Stampin' Up! Masking paper, and let me show it to you. This is like the most amazing stuff. You stamp right on it, and then there's, you know, it's perforated. It's actually like two separate pieces. It's hard to see. I'll put my glasses on, then I can see. It peels off like that, and then you put it on your stamping piece so that you don't get ink where you don't want it. And so I've already stamped the barn, all right, on a piece of masking paper. And then I fussy cut it out. Okay, so I'm gonna put that to the side. And before I do that, I'm going to stamp my barn where I want it. Okay, and I wanted it, when I made this card, I wanted it to be kind of up, like it's off in the distance, you know, and the tree behind it and the angling of the fence kind of gives it that illusion, right? And then the giant ducks in the foreground makes it seem like the barn is way off in the distance, which is what I wanted. So we are going to use Memento ink, Memento Black, and we are going to stamp our barn. So this is from the Christmas barn stamp set, and we are going to ink it up. And when you're inking a photopolymer, sometimes it doesn't ink all the way, so sometimes giving it just a little bit of a twist helps ink it up really good. And then you can tap, tap, tap. And then I'm going to put my piercing mat underneath it, because sometimes the photopolymers need that little bit of cush like the rubber ones do. And I'm going to put it kind of far up, and I kind of want it to be, let's see, kind of straight across like that. So I'm going to just stamp it down right there. So straight down, give it a minute to kind of soak in, straight down, and then back up. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely love it. Okay, then you clean your stamp, and if you don't have a Stampin' scrub, you can use your sink, and clean it off with water in the sink. But the Stampin' scrub is amazing, so I love mine. So all right, so now I have this. Put this back on my regular paper. Now I have the barn on my masking paper, and I fussy cut it out, and this makes it a little bit more difficult to get the masking paper off, but if you just play with it for a second, you'll get it. So when you get it separated, you'll have, it's kind of a sticky thing in it, and a sticky piece, and it's very thin, so it lays right on there nicely. When you cut it, you want to make sure that you're cutting right along the edge, and then you're just going to place it on top, and you want to completely cover your image. Okay, so it's like this is the image, but it will peel right off. It's amazing, you'll see. So let's get our blending brushes and let's create the rest of this card. So I have 2 blending brushes, and one is going to be for Garden Green, which is going to be the grass. So let's do that one first. So you just take your blending brush and you rub it around on top of your ink. And then when you start off your page, because when you put it down, it makes a spot where you set your blending brush down. So then you start off and you come on, and you just move around in a circular motion, and you go up as far as you want, and you can go over the barn. It's okay because it's masked off. See, and then you have the grass, and then you can go over it a little bit more and make sure that you have your grass exactly like you want it. Okay, so now I have a nice grassy area, and if you want it a little darker, you just get a little more ink and make it as dark and grassy as you would like. Okay, then you put that away and you get out Balmy Blue. That's what I did next. I got out my Balmy Blue, and this is going to make your sky, and you do it the exact same way. You rub your blending brush over your Balmy Blue ink. You start on the outside and you work your way in, and you go down to meet the grass, and you just go over it. And like I said, it's okay to go onto the barn because you're going to pull that off, okay, and you're not even going to know that you went onto the barn. And if you have areas where it's uneven, that's okay, because it looks like clouds. It looks like the sky, right? So I love that. Looks exactly like the sky. Love, love. Okay, so now put your Balmy Blue away. We're done with that. You're going to get out some Mossy Meadow. And we're leaving our mask on. And you have to be careful, because I kind of boo-booed on this one a little bit. You have to be careful, make sure that the stump isn't coming out from underneath the barn. So let's get that stamp and ink it up with our Mossy Meadow. And then we're going to be very careful. We're going to make sure that our stump is on the barn, not under the barn. Because when we pull that off, then you won't see the stump anymore, or the trunk, where the trunk meets the ground. Okay, so we want this to be peeking out from behind the barn, and we don't want it below the edge of the barn floor. Okay, so we're going to stamp that right there. And let's do that again. There we go. Okay, so we have all the leaves there. I'm gonna clean my stamp. Okay, then we're going to do the fence, and we're going to use early espresso again. Okay, we're gonna get out our early espresso, and we'll get our fence. We'll ink it up, and you want the small edge to be in the distance, because as things get further away they look smaller. Okay, and you're going to stamp into the barn, because remember, this is masked. Okay, and then you want the floor of the corner of the barn to be equal kind of with where you start your fence. Okay, so kind of like that. Okay, there we go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and pull off the mask. Pull off the mask. And you know, it helps if you have what do you call this? Take your pick tool, because if I mean, I can do it this way, but I'm going to bend up my card. But if I just do this, it just lifts that right up, and then I can grab it and gently pull that off. Look at that. See, and then it's behind the barn. It's going behind the barn. I could have put that maybe not quite at such an angle. Probably a little more straight, like I did in this one. A little more straight, right? And now I'm going to color the barn. That's what I did next. And I used my blender pens, and I used ivory and a tone, which was the 400 tone. Okay, and I did the whole barn in the ivory. Okay, except for the trim. So that edge isn't a very good edge. So I'm gonna use this end of it. And so you just color your barn. Once you get your whole barn done, make sure that you go back and do the inside pieces of the doors, and then you'll use your other blender pen, your Tones 400, to do the trim. Okay, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to do my trim with my Tones 400. All right, and then once you've done that, so now I took the Stylish Sketches stamp set, and I took these geese, which I'm calling ducks, and I stamped them, and then I fussy cut them out, because I'm going to pop that up in the foreground here. And I'm also going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. So I have a piece of basic white, and it's 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to take my Balmy Blue and get your happy birthday stamp. I'm using the happy birthday from Celebrating You stamp set, and you're going to ink it with your Balmy Blue. Okay, so just tap, 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 tap. This is a cling, so you don't want to press hard in your ink. You don't want to press too hard. Just tap, tap, tap. And when you stamp it, you don't want to press too hard. Okay, but otherwise you'll mess it up. I'll show you what it does if you don't know. I'll show you what it does if you press too hard. If you press too hard, see how it gets that, it gets the image of the actual stamp on there, and you don't want that on your card. So, all right, and then you'll just cut the sentiment at an angle, turn it, cut it at the other angle, and you want it fairly short because you don't have a ton of room right here, right? All right, so we're going to take some mini dimensionals and we're going to turn the ducks over. We're going to put one on his body. Okay, and then you really kind of have to cut these even still because they're still very small. And so you'll put one on the one guy's head, the one duck's head, and you'll put the other one on the other duck's head. Okay, and then go ahead and take the backs off of those. And you're going to place it just down here at the bottom. And then you're going to take your blending brush, the one that you use, the garden green, and you're going to get a little more garden green on there, and you're going to just brush the bottom of the grass. Okay? Just to give that grass, you know, help it blend in there so it's not like white grass, right? Because there's no such thing as white grass. All right, now the last thing we have to do is pop up our happy birthday and put some bling on here. So let's get our dimensionals. Put a couple on the back. And place our sentiment. And you're just going to place it right there. Make sure it's straight. Okay. Then we're going to glue this down to our card base. Bring our card base back in. And we're going to glue this down. Okay, and my fence is a little wonky. I should have made it a little more straight, but that's okay. And then for bling, you can use whatever rhinestones you would like. I took some rhinestones from the Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels, and I got my Take a Pick tool back out. What did I do with it? There it is. And I used the kind of, I was kind of torn, and I used these on this one, so I think I'm going to use the other ones. I think I'm going to use these on this one, and I put a large one at the top, a medium one underneath, and the small one below that, so I did 3. And then I put one large one down here in the corner. Okay, so you can tell me which color bling you like better. Do you like the dark blue or do you like the more green blue? And there you have it. There's your Christmas barn happy birthday card. This stamp set isn't just for Christmas. I put a bird on the top of this one. I did not put one on the top of that one. If you wanted to like maybe make some birds flying in the sky, if you have a stamp set that'll do that, something like that, you can fill that space, or you can just give your eye a little rest. Okay, so there you have it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will give try your hand at making this card. It's super easy, really. I'm going to be doing some more Christmas barn videos. I'm going to make some Christmas ones, so stay tuned or come back in and check them out. I hope that you have enjoyed this and that you will try your hand at it. And I do hope that you come back and see me. So have a great rest of your day.